Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose. You can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
The Black and Brown Podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of the Black and Brown Podcast. Hope everybody's doing well. We have Miranda, we have Newton. How are you guys doing? Miranda, how are you doing?
Wonderful. How is everybody?
I'm doing super well, and I voted today. Well, we voted today, not just me. My wife and I voted.
I voted yesterday.
Oh, cool.
I wonder who you voted for.
And Carla's minds want to know.
Well, here, I've got my full LA Dodger gear. I'm going to stand up a little bit right there
Look at you.
because
Go
we're
Dodgers.
celebrating
Absolutely.
the Dodgers winning the World Series. It's been quite some time. You know, the 2020 World Series championship. A lot of people were criticizing that because it was a shortened season because of the COVID pandemic. We did not have a parade that year, but this year I didn't go to the parade because I had work. But man, oh man, if you would go online and watch the parade, I would say easily about 1 million people showed up in the streets of LA. It was crazy. And then, of course, at the Dodgers Stadium where they celebrated, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling. I watched the whole series, even when I was in Texas. I watched all the games except for the game five, the inning between second and the fourth inning, because I was very nervous because they were already down. I thought the game was going to go back to Los Angeles. I took a quick nap and then I woke up. And in the fifth inning, when Mookie Betts made that supposedly an out, but he made a base hit, and then the rest is history. They won the game. I was screaming. I mean, it was just me and my family watching it. The four of us, we were screaming, and I was the one who was screaming the most. But
I was
yes,
going to say, let's
that's
be
why
honest,
I'm
you were
wearing all my.
screaming.
Yeah, I'm wearing my the Dodger gear and celebrate on this podcast the
See, you should
Dodgers
have told me that. I
eighth
would have had my gear on too, man. We could have been twinsies.
championship.
You didn't say anything.
Well, I want all the attention to myself. How about that?
Oh, that's good it was. I believe you.
Well, oh my goodness. So here, let's get into business. You saw that intro video. But I follow Dale Partridge, and he's on Instagram, and a lot of the posts that I follow, it's one of those things that caught my attention that I felt like, wow, it might be a parody, it might be comedy, but I think that's what the left is trying to do. And
To get wives
what's
to
your
disrespect their husbands? Because that's the only thing I took from that. For you to be
Yeah,
disloyal
I
and
mean,
lie to your husband. That's what I took from it.
yeah, I think whether it's comedy or not, I think in reality, that's what everybody is, not everybody, I would rather say is the left is trying to do in the narrative that they're trying to create, the situation where, oh, you know what? Don't, well, you'll see why I wanted to start with that video because of another video we're going to watch. But here, that said, let's start with video one. Paco, can you pass it in the first video we want to discuss? Happened recently.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. Now, again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody.
And just the other day, a speaker at his rally called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American. It's
Wow.
Well, I'm gonna have Miranda. What do you?
Okay.
There are two parts. There are two parts of this, right? This comedian
Yes.
who was at the Trump rally, and then of course Biden responding to it. So I'm gonna throw it to you first, Miranda. What do you think?
Okay. First of all, let me tackle the first thing. So the comedian that said that, I would not have chosen those words. I think that was kind of brash and at the time not a good idea.
Absolutely, I
However,
agree with you.
if you watch him from previous, like if you watch some of his other things, he hits on every group. So it's not just him making something about Puerto Rico. And let me go to Joe Biden. So what he's saying about the garbage floating in the ocean in Puerto Rico is factual. It is true. And what's weird is the Biden administration have sent billions of dollars to Puerto Rico to help them clean that up. So the fact that they're acting like they were calling the people in Puerto Rico, that he was calling the people in Puerto Rico garbage, that's not what he was saying. His words were, did anybody know that there's garbage floating in the ocean in Puerto Rico? He was clear with the position of the garbage. The thing was linking Puerto Rico to Puerto Ricans. That was in poor taste. Like, I don't think anybody would have agreed to him using that joke. But you don't know what joke he's going to say until he gets up there and says the joke. So it's not like Trump went up there and said it, or JD went up there and said it. Like, none of that happened. Like, it was a crude joke.
Yes, it
Horrible
was.
timing. If you get the spirit of his previous commentaries, you would understand that he said something about every single race group. It wasn't it wasn't him singling out Puerto Rico. I mean, Puerto Ricans, he was singling out the issue that Puerto Rico's having with the garbage, which is a true issue that they've been having for some time. And the Biden administration has put millions and billions of dollars towards helping them clean that up. So why Joe Biden decided to call Trump supporters garbage, I think that says more about him saying that he couldn't even get the words out correctly for him to try to liken it to people in his home state. Like, does he remember that it's Delaware? Sometimes I'm not sure if he remembers. He seems a little confused, and I'm not trying to be crude because he's obviously got dementia. But why they're allowing him to be out there like that, I still think that's crazy to me. Like, you want to try to salvage whatever you can of his legacy, but putting him out there like that to stumble upon his words and just to be brash to everybody, not a good look. It says more
I
about them
don't.
than anything.
Well, I don't. I don't support neither that comedian and Joe Biden
No.
saying it. I'm gonna say it a spade, right? Whether it's factual about the garbage or not, I think it's leaving a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of people on both sides, especially on the left, right? But even for us
Oh,
who are
absolutely.
supporting Donald Trump, it's leaving a bad. I mean, when you look at the video, even the crowd themselves who are in the rally. I don't think they
They
liked the
reacted
joke at all. They
negative to
reacted
it.
really
Yeah.
poorly, negatively on the joke. Newton, go ahead, please.
Yeah, exactly what you were saying. I think even the comedian noticed that people didn't like it. That's why he said, I don't always follow the national anthem. Okay. And secondly, I think that whatever can be used by the other side will be used. The same way we are saying, oh, Biden should not have said what he said, stuff like that. That's
Absolutely, I
why
agree with
the
you.
left is using
I
it.
agree
So
as well.
in any case, and I think Biden is just trying to, it's just for the sake of having some political advantage. That's the whole point of it. I don't think Biden in his right mind will say that Trump supporters are garbage, because that is a big disadvantage to the campaign, right? Unless
I
he
don't
Absolutely.
doesn't know
know. I
what
mean,
he's
we've
saying.
been deplorables, we've
Yeah.
been everything. So I don't know. Like that's our name this
So I
time.
think it's just
Every
politics,
cycle, it
and
seems
it's
to be
not a
something.
major thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I
a
think they
major
were
thing.
both wrong. Both of them were wrong.
Yeah, we're not gonna
Yeah,
we're
but
not gonna be. Go ahead, Newton. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
yeah, unfortunately, what was said by a major significant person. Why am I finding it hard to say significant? A significant person on the Democrat side. On the Republican side, the guy is just a comedian who says anything he wants to say, and they can disavow him or say, "Hey, we're never going to call you again." But you can't say that about Biden, because he's the current president and he's the one accusing the other side of saying things that are, that are wrong, or that are that demonize people. That's what he was condemning while condemning the people he was condemning. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. So
You know what
I
I
don't
was just
think we should
thinking?
dwell on it at all. Yeah.
What the comedian did was wrong. Crash should not have happened. But we didn't like go all crazy when you've got what's her name, Megan Thee Stallion, shaking her booty. Like, how is it okay for them to have that like ratchetness at one of their conventions, but here we are at a Trump? And then I get that they probably should have vetted this guy a little more, or actually listened to some of the stuff he said a little bit better, and maybe they would have selected someone else. But like it's like this tit for tat thing. Like, why are we playing these? There's so many more important issues that are going on. Like, we don't need to be
Yeah.
having these kind of conversations. It's just a waste, and it's
Here,
just a distraction.
I don't think, in thinking about it just now, it just occurred to me, right? For both of these guys on that video, from the comedian to President Biden, hey, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I don't think he meant it the way he said it.
Right?
He was trying to crack a joke, but again, it left a bad taste on our mouth, in my mouth. I didn't like it at
Absolutely.
all. So whatever it is, whether it's factual or not, it didn't leave a good impression. So put that aside. Am I crazy if I would say I don't think Joe Biden thinks that Trump supporters are garbage? I think he was at the moment. You're reacting, Newton. Go ahead, please.
I think he just wants to be relevant.
No,
Okay,
Joe
Newton.
Biden was not thinking. It doesn't matter what you think he's thinking, but he wasn't thinking. So
Okay,
let's delete the
that's
fact
a,
that he thought this or he thought that. He was not thinking. Okay, so let's
okay.
just
There
end
you
it there.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree
That's
with
a good
that. That's a
ending
good
right
one.
there.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I
Now
like that.
switching. Okay, we're gonna leave this behind. I love the ending on that. On the, I love the thought. I love the thought right that comment right there. I love it. Okay, let's segue to one of my. It's obviously I'm saying it in a way where I love The View. I have kind of took a peek on some of the things that I talked about, and this video, this particular one caught my attention. They interviewed Mark Cuban, so we got a couple of videos that we're going to be talking about on that interview. So this one caught my attention. Go roll it.
The election's only a week away, so I know you've been campaigning with the vice president. We wanted to know where you think the state of the race is. Who do you think is going to win right now?
Oh, I think the vice president's going to win, obviously. I think, things have changed a lot since 2016.
I didn't hear what he said.
In 2016,
You heard the
in
important part.
2016, the 2016, the Trump voter was the silent voter, somewhat in the 2020 election. But now I think it's really switched. I think Elon taking over Twitter has emboldened Trump voters to get loud, to denigrate Harris voters. And that has really caused people to be quiet. And then you hear him say things like he did last night about women. I really think women are going to win this election for the vice president. I think they'll come out in numbers. I think they'll, not listen to their husbands. I think they're going to do the right thing and vote for the vice president.
Okay, let me break this down. This particular video. Newton, I'm going to start with you. He said, obviously, Harris will win this election. Obviously, that really caught my attention for him to even say that. The audacity to say that. What do you think about that particular statement?
I think it is still a stunt. Okay, that's what I think. I think it's still a stunt because if you don't say that your candidate is going to win, those who are still those who have already given up will not go out to vote, because the problem they're having right now is that many people are not going out to vote for Harris, and they don't want to vote for Donald Trump. But they don't want to vote for Harris. They know it's a bad choice, but they would not be able to say, I voted for Trump, so they're going to sit this one out. I know people who will sit this out, because most people I know are Democrats or leftists or something. So I think he's just trying to push them, especially the women. So I don't want to go in, because you didn't ask me about the women angle, but I'm just saying he knows that they're losing. That's why he said, obviously. There's nothing obvious in Harris winning or gaining an advantage. Yes.
I don't understand that part, that obviously. I mean, I cannot even say with full conviction that I can't even say, obviously, Trump will win. I'm hoping that he does win. But for me to even say, obviously, he would win, I don't see it. I don't see it on the other side either for them to say, obviously, Kamala Harris would win. She can't win a thing. She's put in that
if you
position.
repeat what you did last time, it's possible.
But by the elitists. It was Harris was installed not by the people, not even by the Democratic Party people themselves. It was the elitist who installed her to run for president. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So I have a question for you. If she was installed to run, what makes you think she wouldn't be installed as president?
Ooh, hey. Be careful with that. I have no idea. Like, would you like to elaborate what you're saying?
I'm just saying, like, no one had a voice about her. Normally, people get to have a voice to say who they want to be their candidate. Like, for them to talk so much about having dictators or somebody wanting to be a dictator, they pulled a dictator move. So if you're going to do that to get your puppet in place so you can do what you continue doing what you're already doing, why wouldn't you go the other step and make sure your puppet is truly installed? Because you've done it before. Why would we think that you wouldn't have the audacity to do it again? I'm asking a question. Seriously, if somebody could answer that's a great question.
I was about to say, I think that's a great question you're asking. You're not speculating, you're actually asking. So I'll give you that, right? Well, there's another section of the interview that Mark Cuban was talking about in 2016. Though. Okay, go ahead.
We didn't finish.
We lost Miranda.
Okay, she froze.
we need her back.
Yeah, I think she wanted
she froze.
Yeah, I think she wanted to address the issue of women and women being the reason why Kamala is going to win, or that the women will not listen to their husbands. There's just one point that I wanted to make out of that. Apart from the video we watched at the beginning as the intro, okay, I just wanted to say that if you want women, why did you veer into women not listening to their husbands? Is because that's not relevant. Crazy. Just leave it. He's not smart. He should have just said women. Now, whether the women listen to their husbands or not, I think most people who would vote for her are people who are not married, single women. Women who think that they can be on their own, make their own decisions. They're smart. They don't need to raise families. They need abortion a lot. Because I think every time I hear that women are going to vote for Harris, what I just see in my head is that I see a bunch of women going to abortion clinics, coming out and going to the polling booth to vote. And there's nobody who comes out of an abortion clinic who would go into a polling booth and not vote for Harris. That's the picture of women that I'm seeing. Now, he now veering into, families, that even in families, they're going to be divided and the woman is going to cancel out the man's vote, or is going to persuade or force the man to vote against what is good for the family. That's better. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense
Well,
at all.
we have Miranda back. Go ahead and finish your thought, Miranda. We lost you for a second there.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy that somebody's going to encourage women to lie to their spouses. Like, you made a covenant with your husband, not with a political party, to vote for somebody. It says more about them being so dishonest that there's no bar. Like, there's like a free for all. Like, that's scary to me. And I wouldn't want to really associate myself with anybody who would suggest such a thing. That's just crazy to me. Or the fact that you're comfortable enough to lie to your spouse, that says more about you and your relationship than it does about some counseling, maybe. Just a suggestion.
Go ahead, Newton. You're set. Your thoughts.
Yeah. Miranda, I'm still saying that the ideology that has taken over this supposedly liberal party, it was supposed to be a liberal, right? But the ideology is built on lies. Remember that the end goal is to gain power. Whatever you need to do to gain power, you must do. You must do it. You're the one trying to say the means to the end is important, but that's only important to God.
Absolutely.
The end justifies the means is not important to someone whose ultimate goal is the end, not the means. So they would lie, they would
cheat.
I'm just telling you, it's a lot of lies. My mind always goes back to when I was in the university. I started seeing journalists lying. Things that did not happen, they would say they happened. You know, they made all kinds of lies up because they already took the side of a certain group of people. So even you as a journalist, if you reported a fact, you're going to stand out as the only one who is telling the truth. Everybody else is telling a different story, which is what I see now in America. That's why it was easy for me to stop watching TV, because as soon as I started seeing it, I said, oh, this is exactly what they're seeing. It is the pathway to power. So they would lie. So them lying to their spouses in order to vote for who they want is not something that bothers them. It bothers you, but it doesn't bother them. They will do it and justify it. Why would they lie? Why would they beat up somebody? Why would they say Trump is Hitler when they clearly know he's not? When his son-in-law is Jewish, why would they say that he is Hitler? Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But when you've got that narrative that you've had and you continue that narrative on and it's working, because as much as they talk about him being divisive, the person that's truly dividing the country with their rhetoric is them. Like, there's rebuttal from the Trump camp that sometimes I really wish they would just be silent and just not respond. But it's hard not to respond when you've been beaten down so much and lied upon so much. But the thing that I still don't understand how some people, not me, because I voted on Saturday, did not vote that way. How is it that you have somebody that's constantly having a rally, but 90% of what they're talking about is how bad the opponent is, but not what they can do to help you?
Correct.
Like, how do you justify that that's who you want your family now? You're going to put your trust in that person. That's why I'm a woman, but the husband is the leader of the household for a reason. And I'm sorry. If we've had a conversation and you're leading me because you are a leader, I will follow you. If I think you're not, then maybe we'll have another conversation. But how you can think as a wife that it's okay for you to do something other than when your husband's leading for the benefit of your family, why would you go against that? I'm just blown away by that. Like, I really want to know that.
Well, here's another part of this video before we go to the next one, is that Mark Cuban did say something about this 2016, the difference between the 2016 and then Elon Musk buying Twitter, now X, that those silent supporters now are more loud, that the conservative movement has had a platform to to express their voice through Twitter. My quick reaction to that is this: we had the Twitter files. Obviously, the owners, the previous owners of Twitter were actually, it's factual. And if he's thinking right, if Mark Cuban is thinking straight, he would have thought easily that the Twitter files were evidence that Twitter were actually trying to suppress all the conservatives. As simple as
They
that.
colluded. Absolutely.
Yeah. They were suppressing conservative commentators on YouTube, in the media. All they want is to have the liberal voice be out there. Now it feels like the conservatives have a louder voice, not necessarily louder, but at least we are out there. I mean, here, look, we have the freedom to do this. We're not going to be policed. We're not going to be limited by YouTube to express our conservative views. So to me, that's my quick reaction to that, is that he is not, Mark Cuban, he might be a billionaire, but he's not thinking right. By the way, he used to support Trump, just so guys, you guys know. He supported Trump.
Yeah, sure did.
He supported Trump in 2016, but I think his ego got a hit when Elon Musk have been very loud. By the way, Elon Musk used to be a Democrat. He's a Andrew Yang Democrat. Okay. So, and the list goes up. We have RFK. We got Tulsi Gabbard, who's supporting Donald Trump right now. So, to me, that particular all the things that he said in that particular video, in that interview, is just crazy, plain crazy, and he's just trying to be significant at this time. Let's roll the
They're
next
used to
one.
their own echo chamber, though. Anything other than their echo chamber, they try to suppress.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Paco, let's roll. Go ahead, Newton. You're going to say something.
No, I just said, yeah, I agree. Let's move on. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the next video, Paco.
Let me ask you, because I know you were a Nikki Haley supporter like I was in the primary, but now you're supporting Kamala Harris. And turns out Donald Trump is not even asking Nikki Haley for her help to try to reach her voters. What do you make of that? And do you think having people like Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, and other Republicans with Kamala Harris is going to put her over the edge with these Nikki Haley supporters?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it'll put her over the edge with Nikki Haley supporters. Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple. They're intimidating to him. He doesn't like to be challenged by them. And, Nikki Haley will call him on his nonsense with reproductive rights and how he sees and treats and talks about women. I mean, he just can't have her around. It wouldn't work.
Wow. So
first of all, he's delusional.
I was floored by the audacity of him even saying that. But hey, Miranda, I know I asked you to talk about this. I asked you to make a list.
The glasses have to come out on this one. So
go for it.
First of all, he's a liar. Trump has always surrounded himself with very strong women, intelligent women. First of all, his wife is a strong, intelligent woman who speaks, 5, 6 different languages. I mean, think about it. Nikki Haley, yeah, she's a strong woman, but she's worked for him before. He knows her. He can ask her whatever he wants to, but why would he take information off of somebody who just tried to backstab him and then finally had to bow out?
Sorry to interrupt. Let me interrupt for a second.
That's a whole other thing.
Let me interrupt for a second. Nick, let's just remember what Mark Cuban said, that Donald Trump is afraid to being challenged by intelligible and strong women. Nikki Haley ran, quote unquote, technically against him. Against him. And she was the loudest voice as an opponent. She was criticizing Donald Trump on everything. On everything.
So why would he?
Now she is supporting.
Like, he's an idiot. Well, only because she has to. She didn't do that on her own. Come on. She's trying to stay relevant. I mean, she doesn't want to be completely out of the limelight. I think it's all for shows. Okay. Let me bring out the glasses because I have receipts. So the women, the strong, intelligent women that he's had around him, Nikki Haley, so yeah, whatever. Caroline Levitt, who's his press secretary right now. Ivanka Trump, Tiffany, Elaine Chao, Sage Steele, Tulsi Gabbard, Laura Trump, Susie Wiles, who's the woman that's currently in charge of his campaign right now. Notice there's always a woman in charge of his campaign. Let's see, Linda McMahon, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kayleigh McEnany. Kellyanne Conway was the woman who was in charge of his campaign in 2016, but he doesn't like to surround himself with strong, intelligent women. Sounds a little crazy to me. Megan Ortega. I mean, we could just keep going. I don't know where he's getting his lack of information. And I know he knows this. Like, they all know this. So the talking points to try to make women feel like the only way they're going to be seen is by Kamala only sees Kamala. Like, so if you really think as a woman she's going to levitate you for somehow to a different place, she's not. You're crazy, and you're like speaking out at the other side of your neck, because it's not going to happen. And Mark Cuban, I wouldn't ask that guy, other than it's advice for something to put money. That guy, I wouldn't ask him for anything, not even directions. So no.
Let me say one more thing before I pass it over to Newton. Kayleigh McEnany, she was declared by Joe Rogan as the Michael Jordan of all press secretaries. If you could compare, I did, and I have to admit, when he mentioned that, and then I looked back, it started me getting interested in watching the press secretaries, right? And when you compare Karine Jean-Pierre against Kayleigh, if you would go side by side with how Kayleigh would handle the press briefing with for Donald Trump, and Karine Jean-Pierre for President Biden, seriously, it's night and day difference. Kayleigh was always prepared for every question. She would always have this humongous book. What do you call that?
Binder.
A humongous binder. There you go. A binder that she would always have these tabs. And when a leftist or a liberal would ask her questions, she is quick to it. And I was laughing. Okay. When Joe Rogan would say something like that, and he knows what he's talking about, he declared Kayleigh McEnany as the Michael Jordan of press secretaries. Go ahead, Newton.
I do agree with, I'll just say two things quickly. One, just to piggyback on what you said about Kayleigh. I've been hoping ever since Trump left office that Kayleigh will go back when Trump wins again to be the press secretary. That's what I'm hoping, unless there's someone better. If it is not
no
her,
one is better, then I think she will be back.
Wait. If it is not her, then
it might be Caroline.
It might be Ramaswamy.
The vet.
Hey,
that would be awesome.
So, but again, we don't know what's going to happen.
I think Vivek could be best served in a higher capacity,
in a cabinet position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Let me finish my thought. Okay. So the second thing I wanted to say was, let's assume that what Mark Cuban said, because that's what I thought. Hey, let's say that Trump does not have strong, intelligent women. Does he have strong, intelligent men? If the answer is yes, then according to the Democrats, all the men can transition to becoming women. And the problem is solved. That's the plan.
I love it. Solutions. I love it.
That's
Great solutions, man.
I have to clap on that one. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
hats off to you, Newton. That was a good one.
Any more thoughts on that before we close? Because I have one question. I have one more thought that I'm going to ask you guys to say about.
What I want to say about that is he really didn't think about what he was saying. He just said it. He said it. I don't think there's no way anybody thinks he was thinking when he said what he said, but ego would not let him recant it. So he's just quiet about it. But it was a disastrous statement to make, because as soon as you make a statement like that, you realize, okay, there's no, unless you're not intelligent at all.
Well,
which I don't
He
think he is.
recanted that statement.
He has
he was
recanted it?
catering.
Yes.
Oh,
He
okay.
has.
That's good.
Yes.
Whoa,
He,
I got to
he
look.
did a faux apology. Like, you know what? Let me correct myself. It wasn't even an apology. It was him feeling sorry for what he said about our feelings. I don't want your little dissertation about feelings. Tell me you're sorry for being a bonehead, and then that would be good. But it was,
Well,
he did this little thing about, oh, your feelings. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Dude, this is beyond feelings. You insulted people's intelligence. People that are
That's right.
probably more intelligent than you are.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it's some people would say it's hard to argue against his intelligence. He's a billionaire. He's been a successful businessman. He used to be the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and sold it like 10 times for the amount that he bought it for. But I think he was
Okay,
talking
so he
that way
knows how
because
to
he
make
was.
money. That's it.
There you
He
go.
knows how
Well,
to make money. That doesn't make him
okay,
a
yeah, that's
smart
true.
person, though.
That's I agree with that, and some people would argue with that. But with his in this interview for him, he was literally catering to the audience. It is the View. Most viewers of this program are not just liberals and progressives. They're they call it the View, but it's just one view. It's only the leftist progressive view. They have a pseudo conservative on the panel, but it has
She's a
gone
rhino. She's not a
downhill.
conservative. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a rhino. No,
well,
no, 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 no. Don't even.
yeah, and he
We are
was
not
catering and
associated
making.
with her whatsoever.
He wants the applause of the women. That's why Mark Cuban was saying all those things. In closing, very close in a few days will be the last day for voting, right? Um, come up with for all our viewers, for those of you, my goodness, we've been so in fire about these issues that we're talking about. I just want to remind you, for those of you who has come this far on the video, please like, subscribe, and share, and make comments. Say stuff on the comment section. Our last video, we appreciate all of you guys. All of us have full-time jobs, so we will make the time to actually answer your comments and like them. If we like them, if we don't like them, we'll still like them. So again, thank you for those who have supported us, and for those who are watching up to this point. I'm going to repeat it. Please like, subscribe, and share. And please comment on everything that we're talking about today. We welcome your thoughts and comments, and we all appreciate them. So in a few days, will be the the last day of voting. What are your closing statements for those of you who are watching? We're not trying to, obviously, we are conservatives. We are putting out the case for the conservative movement, quite frankly, supporting and voting for Donald Trump. What's the message you can say to those who are on the fence and on the other side of the fence? I'm going to start with you, Newton.
I would like to speak to those who are believers. Okay? If you're a believer, you say you are a believer in Christ. That's, I know I'm not talking to everybody who's watching this, but if you're a believer, I want you to know that God is not on the side of those who call evil good and those who call good evil. Now, if you think either candidate has somehow called evil good and called good evil, whatever it means to you, okay, in the face of God, you might use that to decide who you vote for. I already told you who I vote for. I would vote for Trump. There's no way. In fact, I would not vote for a Democrat candidate unless it aligns with what I believe. Okay? I'm just saying it. That would be the reason why I would drop the Republican candidate and pick the Democrat candidate, is if the Republican candidate is going crazy. Okay, I would drive. It's not a party thing. It is more a thing of alignment. But what I just want to say is, do all you can to make sure you please God. Okay, don't vote because you hate someone. Actually, God does not like that. And don't vote because of what they've told you. Vote because it pleases God. If it pleases God and you know that's the pleasure of God, do it. Otherwise, don't do it. As much as I want you to vote, I want you to not vote out of hate. Vote out of the things that you love. And make sure abortion is not one of the things you love, because that is against God.
Miranda?
That's it.
Well, I think Newton stole my thunder. I agree with him. If you're a Christian, believer could mean a whole lot of things. To me, they're two different distinctions, but that's a whole nother different subject. I think if you can face God, knowing what he instructs us to live by, how you selected the person who you choose, and how you can have a conversation with him and explain that it was okay for you to choose someone who selects good over evil and evil over good. If you can do that, then I hope that's your intimate thing with him. But all I've got to say is vote what's best for your family, not what's best for people around you, your friends, or to fit in. Vote your conscience, when it's your time to answer for what you did, because we all are going to have to answer, make sure that you have an answer that he's going to say well done for, not like this could like help you or hurt you. Like, you want to help your family. It's not about belonging. It's about your family first. God, family, country. So I voted for Trump gladly on Saturday and would do it again.
Well, thank you, guys. My last point is really simple. For the party who promotes, during the DNC rally, they were celebrating abortion. They had an abortion clinic outside of the convention. For a party who supports, kids, they call it gender affirming care, which is a mask name, is really for those kids who wants to change gender at a very, very young age, to promote puberty blockers to kids, for goodness sakes. For a vice president running who promotes tampons into boys' bathroom, those issues are significant to me, right? And I cannot stand on and support on those issues. I just can't. Not at all. If the Republican Party is doing the same thing, by the way, the Republican Party is standing when it comes to these issues, quite frankly, this was the Democratic Party 30 years ago. Now is the Republican Party. I love what I learned from my son. Do not put your faith on politics, put your faith into it. And it took me a while to understand. I just learned it this morning from my son. Don't put your faith on politics. Put your faith into it. That's what a lot of people
That's
are
it.
missing. Let's put our faith that's what we're doing here on this podcast. We're putting our faith into politics, applying what the Word of God says and applying it into politics, sharing with people what really morality is. Morality is objective. It came somewhere. It came from the Word of God. It's not arbitrary. It is not what the majority thinks. It is an objective truth that the three of us hold on to. I'm going to include Paco, of course. So, guys, thank you. Again, the message that you sent out are very powerful. I hope you guys who are listening, please just take the time to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button. It helps us out to bring the message across YouTube. We're trying to grow this channel. And for those of you who have been supporting, for those of you who watched the last time, thank you very much. We have 1,300 views on the last video. Again, we appreciate all of you guys who've been watching this and supporting and liking it and writing those comments. We appreciate you. We will take the time to address all of your thoughts. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, thank you, Miranda. Thank you, Newton. Thank you, Paco. Thank you again. Looking forward to our next podcast. That will be most likely during the election or maybe after the elections. Who knows? But God bless all of you. Thank you for watching. Have a
God
good
bless
night.
you all.
Bye-bye.
Can't wait for the comments.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
The Black and Brown Podcast.